So not everyone wants to raise money for their business. Maybe you're growing a business and it's totally bootstrapped. Maybe you never intend to raise money. But if you've ever heard of a pitch deck, what it really is a consolidated way to communicate your business model, your vision, your differentiation, what makes you unique, and how you're going to grow and meet your plans over the next few years. And communicating that stuff is important for every business. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk through slide by slide the 18 slides that I used in Trainual's first pitch deck to raise $6.75 million in our Series A financing. Again, not just for financing, but really important for communication. So let me walk you through each of these slides, slide by slide. Slide number 1. The beginning slide, it's really just a title slide, but the important thing here is it says the modern training manual for growing businesses. This is what I was billing Trainual as at the very beginning. And even though our messaging has changed a little bit, it's still pretty accurate. I explained that the name Trainual came from training manual, and we were modernizing that training manual for who? For growing businesses. That was the pitch at the beginning. And so in one statement, in one line there, that title slide tells your investors, tells whoever you're communicating to, here's what this is going to be about generally. So put a lot of thought into the copy behind that one headline. Slides 2, 3, and 4 in my deck said, number 1, complicated things come with instructions. Number 2, so where's the instruction manual for your business? And number 3, in most companies, they're missing. So what I'm doing here is I'm painting the problem statement. And I used 3 slides to do it with a little bit of imagery because I was trying to move fast through the slides and communicate and encapsulate what the problem is that Trainual is trying to solve. It's that complicated things, appliances you buy, your car, those come with instructions. You know how it operates, the operations manual. So why doesn't a business come with instructions? Well, most companies don't have these. And that was the problem that I was trying to get at. Why don't they have these? Why don't businesses come with instructions? Well, because it's too hard. It's too difficult. And so I summed it up on slide 5, where I said, here's what people try to do to solve this problem. They create a lot of documents and they create chaos. Throwback to the Organized Chaos name and this podcast. So all of those slides, 2, 3, 4, 5, are just me explaining the problem behind the business, the story behind why this business exists. So for you, think about the problem or the story that leads to your solution. It's the setup, and that's what these slides are all about. Slide 6 goes right into the solution. And in our case, that was Trainual, the application. So I have a picture of the initial product. It's kind of just an illustration with an outline of what this is really solving, why it's unique, and what we're fusing together in terms of features and functionalities. So you can do all this stuff online, write your policies, your processes, embed videos, track progress. If you've ever been to our website, it's basically all that stuff, but it is the solution to the problem. So that's where you go next in your pitch deck is here's the setup, here's the story, the problem, and here's the solution. Here's what our business is, why our business exists. Straight from there, my next slide, slide number 7, it says across the top, we're on a roll. This is just kind of fun language. You know, if you've ever read our blog posts, you know that we're very conversational. So we're on a roll is all about traction. Traction in business is the progress that you've made to date. And an investor coming into a business or an employee applying to work with your business cares a lot about traction. They want to know, is this a real business? Are you on to something here? Are you making progress? Will you succeed? Or am I jumping into a really risky proposition that hasn't shown much sign of success so far? So this is traction. And in your business, it could be sales. It could be the number of visits to your store. It could be the number of people that are using your free application or downloads of a free product that you've put. But it's some type of way to show demand. You're showing that there is traction, there is progress. And in my chart, I showed revenue traction with month-over-month growth to show that every month we're bringing in more customers and all these people around the world are already using Trainual. That puts investors at ease and they say, wow, this isn't an idea, it's an actual business. So that's what that slide's all about. From there, I went into a case study because as soon as you talk about traction, you're kind of broadly in a macro sense saying our business works for a lot of people. But then if you laser focus in on, here's one example, here's the problem we solved for this customer and why they love us so much, it gives you a chance to throw in a testimonial, a use case, a case study, whatever you call it. It's a way to showcase that your product or your service really worked for one customer so that then your investors or your potential employees or whoever can apply that way that you help that one person to the broader market or the broader audience. From there, I go into kind of a positioning slide. So slide number 9 in my deck is all about where we saw Trainual in the market. Again, if you've used Trainual or been to our website, you know that it's more complicated than just a simple document, and it's less complex than an enterprise learning management kind of system. And so positioning Trainual as simple, just like those text editors, but also effective like the enterprise tools, showed that we were in this sweet spot and how we compare against some competition. So for your business, you want to think about how you're positioning who you are. Who are your competitors? Every investor wants to hear that you're competing against someone. This isn't just a brand new thing. There is competition. It may be analogous and not exactly what you're doing, but think about what is competition in your space and what makes you different in this space. Slide 10 for us was about, even though we have this unique positioning, here's some third-party validation because we're appearing on these software review sites. So we showed a live grid of where we were ranking on G2, or G2 Crowd as it was called at the time, is a software review site. That kind of external validation, whether it's awards, rankings, those sort of things, again, it's a confidence builder and it helps to paint a picture of where you sit in the market. Slide 11. This one shifts into business model. So for us as a SaaS company, our pricing model is charging people subscriptions for the software we have on a monthly or annual basis. And so I spoke to that with our pricing model. In your business, talk about how you make money. How does a dollar flow through your company? How do you charge customers? Is it a subscription model? Is it a one-time fee? Is it a recurring retail kind of transaction? Talk about your pricing model, your business model, because it's important to know, how do you make money? If you've ever seen Shark Tank, you might hear Mr. Wonderful in your head saying, how do you make the money? You know, whatever he says about the marching dollars through your business. That's the business model. Number 12 is target market. So for me, I was again painting this picture of the journey we're going through here with the problem, the solution, the differentiation in the market, the third-party validation. And then you get to your business model that shows how much you make for a single customer. And then I expanded back out to say, now here's our target market. Here's how big the market is. Because what that paints for an investor is the gap or the picture between where you are today and where you could be if the business is really successful in 5 or 10 years. So you share your business model and how the single unit economics work in one transaction, and then you share your big market so that you could imagine how big this business could be. So this could be dollar size, the target market. This could be number of customers, and it's who you're focused on going after and who you see yourself growing to go after. After that, 13, this is all about how are we going to do it? How are we going to get all those customers? So in Trainual's case, our go-to-market, our GTM, was all about top of funnel marketing, kind of like this podcast, right? Putting out useful content to attract businesses that need the types of things that we do as Trainual as a software company. So we were showcasing here our marketing through some celebrity endorsements and partnerships and the podcasts and the PR and the articles that I've written in the past. This was about GTM, or go to market. So again, the slide is all about, for your business, how do you find those customers? How do you sell those customers? Do you have sales reps that are out there dialing every day? Do you do ads? Are you in Yellow Pages, or the modern equivalent of the Yellow Pages? Are you doing a lot of events and that's where you close all your business? This is about how you go to market, how you get customers. Slide 14 talks through the life cycle of a customer for us. Because once you go out and get those customers, the next question is, how much does it cost you to get those customers and how much do they spend with you? So this one is maybe a little bit particular to a software as a service or SaaS, but every business has some kind of cost to acquire customers. Maybe you pay affiliate commissions to people. Maybe you have sales reps. Maybe you have to pay distributors or some other people and you're wholesaling your product. Everyone has some kind of cost to their product, the cost of goods sold. And then you also have the expected value of a customer, their lifetime value that they'll spend with you over time. And this is a really important slide for the economics of your business, specifically if you're trying to raise money. Because when you try to raise money to bring in capital, most likely it's to go acquire a bunch of customers. And that investor wants to know, how many customers can we go acquire for the dollars that you're raising. So that's slide 14 in my deck was all about our metrics and how we're measuring success in the business. Number 15, slide 15. These are the projections for the company. So every pitch deck, every investor deck should have some form of a forward-looking pro forma, which is what are we going to make and what are we going to spend? How much are we forecasting to produce in revenue? And how much are we expecting to either bleed in losses for the business or make in profits for the business? And you want to forecast that out at least for the near term. I think anywhere from 2 to 3 years is probably appropriate, just to show that you have a handle on the financials inside the business. From there, in slide 16, I go in to do some longer term projections, some 3 to 5 year projections to just give a frame of reference for how we see this business growing over time. This is really about the vision. How big is your vision? Because when you bring an investor in, they want to know that you're building something of value so that they can someday get value back. And so on this slide, I talk about our longer term projections, and also I talk about an exit strategy, which is not something that is top of mind for me with Trainual. It's not something that we're after, but when we were going through the investment process, it's a question that investors ask. How can I get my money back? And so you at least have to consider it and say, who would be a buyer for this type of business if we're hitting all of our goals? And you put that on there as an option. Optionality in business is all about either growing a productive and profitable company that you sustain and make profits and pay dividends long term, or potentially you go down the acquisition path and you sell the business someday. But either way, investors want to know, how do I get paid back? And for me, that's what slide 16 is. Slide 17 is showcasing our team, our expertise, all the faces of Trainual at that time. So I could talk through who was in each of the departments, what expertise we had on our bench with advisors, and how we were validating ourselves by having been there, done that kind of people that were more likely to succeed in the future. And the last slide, slide 18, is another title slide, just like that first one. But this one has contact information on it because sometimes you're sending your pitch deck to a person that you're not speaking with directly. So in that case, you want to put some sort of call to action on that last slide. How do they contact you? How do they learn more? So again, this was a really brief overview of what Trainual's original pitch deck looked like, slides 1 through 18. Hopefully it's helpful for you, and whether or not you're raising money now, raising money in the future, or never raising money, the ability to concisely communicate and tell a story around your business, your differentiation, your business model, your pricing, your market, your customer, your go-to-market, your team. These things are so foundational to being successful in business. So hopefully you got some great tips from this. And if you have additional questions, don't hesitate to message me.